Hey everyone, I'm here with Zach Lipovsky, the director of Leprechaun Origins. How's your Comic-Con experience going so far?
This is so cool. I've been coming to Comic-Con, this is my 5th con. The 4 other times were as a fan, so this is my first time coming here with my own film, so it's very exciting.
That's very cool. So just talk a little bit about how you got involved with Leprechaun Origins.
Well, it was really cool. WWE was looking for a way to kind of reinvent Leprechaun and find a way of making it a legitimate horror film. And that challenge was really interesting because it's something that leprechauns kind of have this connotation of something that's pretty slapstick or silly or kind of unthreatening at the very least. And so how could we make something that could terrify people and disgust people and horrify people was really interesting. And so that's why I kind of came on board.
Were you a fan of the original series?
I hadn't seen it more than just pop culture, seeing it around and that kind of stuff. I wasn't an expert or a fan in it. But then when I got on board, I definitely kind of went through, watched all of them, looked at all the forums to see what the fan base was, excited by. And then in this film, even though it's very much a fresh kind of new start, there's a lot of kind of nods to like iconic props in the background of scenes or character names and those kind of things that just kind of honor the history of where it came from.
Yeah, what are the challenges of, that character, even people who haven't seen the films, like they kind of know who that is. What are the challenges of kind of recreating something that's iconic?
Yeah, definitely the Leprechaun of the previous movies is iconic. It's something that a lot of people, even if they haven't seen the films, kind of recognize that image. And so here we really wanted to do something completely fresh, find a totally new way of doing it. A lot of that went to the idea of maybe there's an origin to a creature that existed thousands of years ago that the Celtics met in some deep dark cave and were like, oh man, this thing is terrible, and started telling stories, and now those stories have become something that's silly, but originally there was something that was of a biological root that was really scary. And so all our decisions from the design and the storytelling were really around that kind of perspective, getting rid of kind of the magical elements and more thinking of things that you can identify as a leprechaun, but in a creature kind of scary monster kind of way.
Yeah, we really haven't seen the leprechaun yet. No, none of the ads have revealed him. That's pretty much all we're getting. Can you talk a little bit about the design of him and how it differs from what we've seen in the previous films?
Yeah, so we took the idea that the creature comes from kind of caves. That's why we haven't seen it around lately. Underground, where there's veins of gold and that kind of thing. And so it's very much like inspiration from an underground creature, like naked mole rats, which are like these disgusting little, like almost like bleached looking creatures because they have no sunlight, and that kind of almost kind of gnarled skin and warty kind of underground creature, kind of look kind of like Gollum, that kind of approach. And then also coming at it as we extended some of the limbs to really make it this kind of terrifying thing that kind of skulks along the ground, small and fast, and something that is actually legitimately threatening. Right. And
WWE is obviously a gigantic corporation. Can you talk a little bit about collaborating with them and how much influence they had in the day-to-day making of the film?
Yeah, it's been really interesting getting into. I wasn't that familiar with. I knew wrestling and I knew WWE, but it's been really cool to kind of be taken into that whole world and go to my first wrestling matches and meet other wrestlers that are telling me how it's all going down and all that kind of stuff. It's been really cool.
Finally, what do you say to the people who are like sort of dubious that you can reinvent Leprechaun and make it scary?
I'm kind of hoping people go in thinking that it's just going to be a fun, silly movie, because then their guard's going to be down. So that then as things start getting out of hand and people start dying and things get really, I'm a big fan of that kind of Guillermo del Toro, Spielberg kind of style of building suspense and paying it off. So I think people will be more invested in it than they expect. And so I'm really excited to see what people's reaction is to that.